Welcome to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit.
That's just a straight shooter with upper management written all over him.
And today, it's Thrive Thursday.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out? What? Do what?
Now, get ready because we're giving you the unique insight to help you thrive in a competitive market.
Join us or die.
And now, the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit on ESPN Radio 1700.
It's down to sound the radio. 20 more lashes of grotesque audio. Glittering fountains misspent you.
Welcome to the Mr. Credit Radio Hour. This is your host, Ron Greenwald, today. And today is a very special day. We are opening professional National Football League tonight, and it's going to be a fantastic game coming up with Seattle and Green Bay. In our studio, we have two very special people, Bruce McPherson, a certified reverse mortgage professional with, what's the name?
Security One Lending. The largest full-service reverse mortgage company in the nation.
Oh, fantastic. Bruce, welcome to have you.
Well, it's good to be here, Ron. Good to see you again.
Fantastic Thursday. Also in our studio, we have Ryan Greenwald. He works in the area of college football, and he is going to tell us exactly who to pick on your fantasy football team and how the Chargers are going to do. Ryan, welcome.
Thanks for having me today.
You're welcome. If you made the connection, I've known Ryan for a few years. He's going to be have his birthday October 1st.
Okay.
So we go back about 29 years on October 1st.
All right.
Bruce, let's get right into it. What the topic is today. Right now, we know that a lot of people love football. It's a very intergenerational moment. We have a lot of people getting together this Sunday, well, actually for Monday, to watch the Chargers.
The whole family gets together, yep.
The whole family gets together, a lot of generations. It could be great-grandpa, grandpa, grandson, and the father in there somewhere, and grandma, too, a lot of grandma Charger fans.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people, as they age, have some issues. They may live in a large home, two-story home, and as they age, we know that may not be the best thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking to possibly move to a one-story home. Tell us what you do for a living to help them.
Well, one of the things that I do is, I help people decide whether or not a reverse mortgage is the right fit for them in the home that they're currently living in. Because, as I'm sure you would agree, if you're living in a home that is not the right fit for you for the rest of your retirement, then it doesn't make sense to get a reverse mortgage on that home and start pulling out the equity to spend. Even though a reverse mortgage is a great deal, you never have to pay any monthly payments. All of the costs, all the interest is just accrued over time and just comes due someday when you're gone. But the thing is, if you're going to sell that home 20 years later because it's not the right fit for you because you can't get up the stairs anymore, then there's not going to be nearly as much equity left when you sell it. So you're not going to be pocketing much money from the sale, unless home values do really well. But so if it's not really the right fit for you, then the only time a reverse mortgage would be good in that situation is if you've made the decision to downsize and you're going to get a reverse mortgage to pay for home improvements and repairs to make it much easier to sell the home. I've definitely done reverse mortgages in that situation. Then of course the reverse mortgage loan balance just gets paid off when you sell the home. But if you're going to stay in the home for the rest of your retirement, if it really is the right home for you, then a reverse mortgage is a much better solution for your long-term financial planning than hardly anybody realizes. The media just never gets it right. I recently read a really good blog by Martin Andelman. He has a blog called Mandelman Matters, and he was railing against the mainstream media for their misportrayal and constant misinformation, scaring people away from reverse mortgages by repeating the same old myths that have persisted for the past 20 years, ever since the federal government created this wonderful, safe program.
Well, what is so for those that are just tuning in for the first time, what is a reverse mortgage?
So a reverse mortgage is a very flexible financial tool. It's the most flexible mortgage in existence. It's a way for you to tap into the equity in your home to use for any purpose, and no matter how much money you borrow over time, you never ever have to make monthly payments. And because of that, people have always thought, well, that sounds too good to be true. People think that the lender just takes the home at the end, and that's simply not true. That hasn't been true since 1989 when the government created this safe reverse mortgage program. What happens is someday when you're gone, the loan balance will come due, and that loan balance will include the interest and the government fee that's accrued over time. And they're really flexible. You can choose to take money as monthly payments, guaranteed to never run out, even if you live to be 120 years old. You can choose to take a lump sum, which typically is not the right option, or you could have the money just sitting available for you in a line of credit. It's a guaranteed line of credit, and that available credit in that credit line is guaranteed to grow and grow and grow for you, just because that's the way the government wrote the rules. Even if home values go down, your credit keeps growing for you, so it's a great way to prepare for future needs. You can also, ever since 2009, the government has allowed people to purchase a new primary residence, purchase a new home.
That's what I'm thinking is the right thing for Grandpa to do.
Oh yeah, if you're looking to downsize, this can be a great option. It can be, well, it's certainly much safer than having to buy a home by getting a regular mortgage on the home, because you never have to make monthly payments with a reverse mortgage, so it can never get you in trouble. As long as you can afford to keep paying your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, keep the home from falling into disrepair, as long as you keep doing those three things that every homeowner always has to do anyway, then you can never get into trouble with your reverse mortgage. The loan balance will never come due until you're gone.
And that's from Bruce McPherson, a certified reverse mortgage professional with Synergy Security. I don't know why I'm a mental.
Well, there's also a Synergy One lending.
Yeah, we know that guy.
Yeah,
we know that guy.
That's our sister company.
Oh, okay. That's maybe why.
Founded by the same person.
I'm always thinking of John.
Yeah.
Security One Lending. And the way to get a hold of you, what's the best number to get a hold of you at?
The best number is my toll-free number.
I got it right here.
All right.
So we got 866
223
7174. So 866 223 7174. And is there a good email that people can inquire?
Yeah, well, it's bruce.mcpherson@s1l.com. So as long as you spell McPherson correctly, you can...
You know what? I like the phone number.
Yeah, the phone number is just so much easier.
It's toll-free. It's a freebie, 866-223-7174. So you said you had some exciting news about interest rates.
Yeah. So the one thing that nobody really ever liked about this program ever since the government created it back in 1989 is if you choose the variable rate, which is and that's what you have to have if you want to have all that flexibility. With a fixed rate, you can't have flexibility as far as how you take the money. With a fixed rate, you have to just take a lump sum up front, and that's it.
And they're still doing the lump sum?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. One of the myths out there is people thought the fixed rate lump sum went away, but that was just because of bad reporting a couple of years ago. But if you choose a variable rate, then you have all this flexibility. You can just use it much more judiciously, just take the money out bit by bit as you need it. But the drawback of the variable rate is, of course, it's variable. Now, right now, the rates are really low. We can do a rate that's in the low twos. That's amazing. But the cap, the lifetime cap on that rate that prevents it from going too high if rates go really high someday, has always been 10 percentage points above the starting rate. In other words, the cap that's available right now, a little over 12%. But now we have an option where you can have a much lower cap. It would bring the cap right now down to a little over 7%. In other words,
that would be the top rate it could go to in terms of its accumulating interest at 7%.
Exactly. So if we were to have a repeat of the early 80s when rates went sky high because of runaway inflation.
Let's go back to it's really Carter's fault. So it's back to the 70s. It wasn't Ronald Reagan's fault.
I'll stay out of politics.
Just to clarify, those that are old enough to remember.
If we have a repeat of those years, you don't have to worry because the rate can never go higher than a little over 7%, because the cap is 5 percentage points above the starting rate, and that's just amazing. I'm so thrilled that we have this option. You can also choose to have an annually adjusting rate instead of a monthly adjusting rate, and with that annually adjusting rate, in addition to that nice low cap, you also have an annual cap on the rate. So if rates spike a lot in 1 year, your rate will never go up more than 2 percentage points in that year. So it's so much better than it used to be.
So it sounds like they built in a lot of protections into the program to protect our seniors from getting taken advantage of. And so these.
Well, this particular exciting new option is something that the government didn't have to do. It's just the lenders. We chose to do it as a lender. There's at least one other major lender that also offers it, but a lot of lenders don't offer that. They still are stuck with just that high 12% cap. So it's a good idea to always work with a lender that has all of the options, which is one of the things I love about Security One lending. We have all the options.
Well, I know you have a very fantastic reputation out there of being an educator first.
Yes, sir.
So it's really, I mean, like sitting down, again, if you can get invited to the football game on Sunday with all of the family there to really discuss it, what's in the best interest of mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, grandma, so that they understand, so that the children understand they're not giving the title and the deed over to the bank.
Right. Yeah, I mean, very common conversation that I could see this happening, when the whole family gets together to watch football and they're having dinner afterwards. This happens all the time. You've got somebody in the family who's actually done their research, talked to me or another certified reverse mortgage professional who really knows this product inside and out. You'll have one person in the family who brings it up and says, you know what, Mom and Dad, you don't have long-term care insurance, right? And you could really need expensive long-term care someday. Why don't you get one of these safe, government-insured reverse mortgages? Just leave the money sitting available in that line of credit where it grows and grows for you. So right now, if you qualify for a line of credit of, say, $300,000, by the time you need it someday, you could have, say, $600,000, $800,000 just sitting there as credit that you can borrow. You never have to make payments against it. If you never use it, so what? The loan balance that'll come due will just be a few $1,000s, which is just the upfront cost because you never actually used it.
Right.
And then the rest of the family say, no, I've heard those are terrible. I read one of these, these misleading articles out there. Oh, I heard the bank takes the home and blah, blah, blah. And then
they kick you out of the house and they take your children away from it, which is maybe a good thing. But
yeah, there's just so many myths. It's astounding. And then maybe somebody in the family might be a financial planner who never sat down with a professional reverse mortgage specialist and got educated on it, and they could have the same myths in their head that everybody else does.
Well, I'd say always call and get the team together, whether it's the family team or the professional team, so that everybody's on the same page. Security One Lending, Bruce McPherson, certified reverse mortgage professional. Again, toll free. It's a free to just get educated on what's available for you. You may be you have to be over 62.
You have to be 62 or older,
which a lot of us are gaining very quickly on. And the demographics tell us that. I'm not admitting to it. 866-223-7174. 866-223-7174. So I am working with a client. I do residential real estate, as you know, and I'm working with a client.
Good.
Thank you. They are an older couple, and they actually wanted to do a forward mortgage, and I know, but because they pay everything in cash, they generated no credit score, no FICO score for those people. Remember that number. Do you need a FICO score to do a reverse mortgage?
Currently, you do not. So far, the rules have not changed. It's incredibly easy to qualify. We don't even look at your credit score. We don't even look at your income. We don't look at your assets or your debt-to-income ratios unless you're going to be buying a property. If you're doing the purchase reverse mortgage, then if you're going to still hold on to other real estate, then we just have to look at your income to make sure that you're going to be able to afford the property taxes, et cetera, on all your properties. But a lot of realtors don't even know about the purchase reverse mortgage. We should talk about that in one of the other segments.
I I did one for one. I know
you know about it.
Yeah, it was a great story. Grandma and Grandpa moved out from they were tired of being cold in Minneapolis and moved into the Escondido area and did a reverse mortgage purchase contract. And they need about 30-40% down payment, or what's
it depends on age. Right now, because rates are so low, the LTV or the percentage that you can get from a reverse mortgage, whether it's a purchase or a traditional, is anywhere from 50 to 75%. But in a few years, if rates are higher in a few years, which I think they will be, then the percentage you can qualify for will be a lot less. It's always based on age, but it's also based a lot on what interest rates are at the time that you apply. So now is a good time to apply.
Okay, so all those listening, we have now armed you for Monday Night Football, Chargers and Cardinals, to start talking to mom, start talking to dad about what are their housing objectives, what are their housing plans. I mean, they may be 65, 75, they may be 85. What is best for mom and dad going forward? And a reverse mortgage may be just one of those tools. So stay tuned. We're coming right back. We will be talking fantasy football picks that will hopefully maybe make you some money if you're into fantasy football. Plus, we're going to kind of pick Ryan's brain on how those Chargers are going to do Monday night and going forward into this year. Stay tuned. Do not go away. Mr. Credit Radio Hour.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today, it's Thrive Thursday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. This is Ron Greenwald hosting the Mr. Credit Radio Hour. And in our studio today, we have Ryan Greenwald, who works in college football and also is an aficionado on fantasy football strategies and the Chargers. And given what today is, it's the start of the NFL going into the weekend and the Chargers on Monday, I thought it would be great to have him in the studio today and give us his insight, advice, and input into what's the first thing you do, Ryan, when you're looking at picking those players. And again, I'm a very novice. I really don't know much. I'm going to rely on you to tell us fantasy football has evolved over the last 20 years greatly in terms of the internet. So how does it work? How does it work today?
Well, you get as many reports as you can, which are based on past player performance, and that's where the problem kind of comes in. But you're looking at these experts' reports, trying to figure out how accurate they're going to be on their predictions while you factor in your own predictions. Again, as I said, they're based on past performance, so now you come to the art form with fantasy football of trying to predict the future. And in baseball, it's a little bit different because you can look at a bigger sample size, really get an understanding of what a player is, factor out the ballpark size, factor out the league they're in, and really understand what they'll do from year to year based on their age. Football is a completely different beast because the past reports are based off anything from the season they had. A left tackle injury could affect a player's performance at wide receiver and the quarterback. So you have to look at many different factors and kind of make your best educated guess. And actually go with your gut on a few things, I think. I drafted high on Andrew Luck this year because I feel like he's going to have a breakout year. You watch him on film, looks wonderful. He's learning the system now in his third year. He's going to be a tremendous star.
Well, he's already a pretty cool guy. But breakout even more so than he has been?
Right. They're not going to be relying on Trent Richardson to run the ball as much as they want to because he obviously can't perform up to the levels they were hoping. They're going to be a pass-happy offense, and he's going to put up stellar numbers. But you're not going to really see that in the reports. That's just my gut feeling on this.
Now, again, you can change it from week to... Oh, you drafted... You can still change. You pick like 2 or 3 still, or how does it work?
So yeah, you could pick up, say, you have Andrew Luck on your team and Carson Palmer as your 2 quarterbacks, and you can decide who you're going to sit or start. This week with Palmer coming against the Chargers, I might start him because this Chargers secondary is really weak. I'm sorry to say that, but it's a poor secondary.
No, you're always honest about the Chargers. Okay, so we got who does Indianapolis play? Who are they playing this weekend?
Indy, do you have that over there?
No, don't have that. Okay, we'll have to look that one up on break, who they're playing. So who else do you got on your team?
My team, I got Chris Johnson, and he's going against Oakland right now. And Oakland's a horrible team, horrible defense. I would start him, even though Chris Johnson might be over the hill.
Who is he with?
Chris Johnson's on the Jets now. He left the Titans, and he's now with the Jets. He's trying to rebuild his career. And I would look for him to have a big game, especially against Oakland. They're going to be able to run the ball, and they're going to have Geno Smith at quarterback, so you're looking for short dump-off passes, nothing too deep, nothing too crazy.
So is it still based on yards and touchdowns? I mean, again, it's been a long time since I've actually been involved with this.
So you get points for receptions, you get points for yardage, you get points for touchdowns. Depends on how you structure your league. And that's the whole key is, like, depending on the structure of your league, a wide receiver might be more beneficial than a quarterback if you're getting points per reception, but not for a pass completed. So those are the things you want to look for in types of league. If you're a point per reception league, you're obviously going high on wide receivers and running backs, especially the running backs that get catches as well as run the ball.
So, again, being a novice, each league has its own rules?
Each league, yeah, you could set up your own rules in your league if how you want to do it. If you want to give 7 points for a touchdown, 6 points, 4 points, you can set that up. There's basic structures like the Yahoos and the ESPNs give you, and then you can kind of adjust those if you go in there on your own.
So for you, which one do you gravitate towards, or is there a particular
I'm in a kind of more traditional league, and then I'm also in a point per reception league. So that boosts the value of the wide receivers over quarterbacks, actually.
And what do you think of the Chargers wide receivers this year?
I think it's a great corp. Keenan Allen was a steal in the 3rd round last year, way undervalued, and we have him, and he's going to do tremendous. Malcolm Floyd should be back and healthy. You also got, I can't think of his name right now.
That's okay.
The little guy, the 3rd slot receiver.
Here it is. I don't know as the list. So what other positions, who do you think is some other breakout players this year that people should be looking at?
I would go high with, for week one, I go high with Frank Gore versus Dallas.
Oh, you got to give us who is he? Okay.
He's on the Niners. He's the running back on the Niners. He's coming against Dallas. They are going to be running the ball because Kaepernick's not on top of his game.
Now, why do you say that?
Kaepernick looked horrible in the preseason. They weren't clicking.
You think that's just because they don't want to show anything in the preseason, or you think they're really having some issues?
I think something's off right now to start. I think they'll find their groove, but I think the Chargers always take a mid-season nap, and the 49ers are just taking a preseason nap right now, and it's going to lead into week one.
Okay, all right. Okay, go ahead. Who else do we got going for this weekend?
So I'm taking Carson Palmer against the Chargers. The Chargers have a poor defense.
Ooh,
I don't think...
Okay, no throwing tomatoes at Okay, go ahead.
I'd put Palmer in there. The question I would go with is, should you start Danny Woodhead? Considering the Chargers, who might like to do their season start slumber, as usual for the last 6-7 seasons again, Woodhead could be an interesting person to start, given that he'll be the 3rd down back. So we're going to be probably coming from behind. That means we're passing a lot and looking to the short dump-off routes because the wide receivers go deep and clear out that space. So I would probably start him right now if I had him on my team. I don't, but I would give him a shot.
So who do you have on your team for the running back this weekend?
I got Ben Tate over with the Browns, and unfortunately that's because I just drafted poorly and wasn't able to get the running backs I wanted. I mean, you got a bad quarterback situation over there in Cleveland. Most likely he'll get some carries, but they're going to load the line and really block him in. The other guy I have is Lamar Miller with the Dolphins, but I'm expecting the Dolphins to go down against New England early, thus no Sean Moreno. The backup running back will be seeing a lot more playing time when they try to pass the ball instead of run the ball. So I'm not in a good situation with running backs week one.
So then you can drop them and move them around, or how does it work?
Yeah, so if guys underperforming, I'm going to be checking the waiver wire, looking at guys like Devontae Freeman over with the Falcons and Jaquiz Rogers to see how they do in week one, because they're both available in my league, and I have an eye on those guys. You can also look at a guy like Stephen Ridley with the Patriots, and some other guys who aren't picked up in the leagues to see kind of what they do week one, week two, and if you want to try to pick them up before someone else does. There's always, in the NFL right now, running backs are a dime a dozen, so you'll find someone breaking out if you pay attention to the waiver wire and who's available. You'll find some rookie or some young guy that you haven't heard of who's just all of a sudden become the go-to guy for this season.
And any of the rookie quarterbacks, you see of any of them actually performing this year? Or what's your position?
I have very poor opinions of all the rookie quarterbacks.
That's okay. Tell us what you really feel.
Johnny Manziel won't do anything productive this entire season.
Will he ever do anything productive?
Will he ever? That's a great question. And as this league kind of adopts the Chip Kelly model, I think he can be of service, but his career will be no better than Michael Vick's career. And I don't mean because he's going to miss 2 seasons for anything like that. I just mean that he will not be able to be an accurate passer in this league, just like Michael Vick, and eventually that's going to catch up with him. Eventually they're going to figure out how to kind of contain him. Not to mention all the hits he starts taking as he ages will cause him to miss games, and you can't do that as an NFL quarterback.
So how do you feel about Oakland's decision to start Carr? I mean, what is your opinion of it?
I think it's Dennis Miller trying to save his job. And
that's the coach.
That's the coach. And it's a good analogy when you have, you have your sports car in your garage, and then you have your nice minivan. And he wants to go with the sports car and Derek Carr. The nice, it looks nice. It's going to be productive. But there's a big learning curve on how to drive this sports car, and that's the problem. Like, he needs to sit and learn some time on how to handle this. It's a stick shift. How do you adjust the clutch? Carr needs some time on the bench, and Schaub should be the starter. It's my opinion, it's a lost year period with the rookie quarterback. So he's not going to, he will be, I think he'll be a good player down the road. He's obviously going to do better than his brother if they don't let him get sacked every other play like they did with his brother. But you probably don't want to throw him to the dogs right away, especially with the Rex Ryan defense just chomping at the bits to get after him now.
Well, I want to mention Chip Kelly. I mean, he seems to be the in vogue thing when you watch ESPN. I mean, everybody seems he's the revolutionizing the game. Is there any truth to that, or is he just the ESPN likes to talk about him?
ESPN likes to talk about him. But he's bringing the up-tempo offense and the no-huddle to the NFL. We've seen it with the Broncos and the Patriots a little before Chip Kelly, but he's bringing it in a much more spread offense sort of manner and allowing for a running game to partake. When we have the fun and gun back with June Jones, we didn't have the run game to it. So now you're bringing the run game to it, and you're spreading out the defense, allowing you to run on 6 defenders in the box instead of the normal 7 or even 8. So he's bringing a new element to it. It's an interesting thing. My biggest question with it, and goes to the college ranking too, if player safety is such a big concern, obviously tired guys are going to be more likely to get injured. Fatigue leads to injury. Why aren't we allowing for subs on first down, particularly in a college level when you can have a timeout, you have a clock stoppage to move the chains anyways. So we'll see if how the rules kind of progress in the NFL with this whole, emphasis on player safety, if Chip Kelly's going to be able to keep the up-tempo going, because, as much as everyone wants to look for scientific evidence that this affects player safety, clearly fatigued players are going to lead to more injuries. It's less fundamental, as we all learned playing Pop Warner. Heads-up football doesn't exist when you're tired.
Ryan, we got to take a quick break. You have a wealth of knowledge on this, and we're going to tease everybody to hang around for that fourth segment of the Mr. Credit Radio Hour so we can get your predictions on where the Chargers finish and who's in the Super Bowl. And we hope that we have somebody calling in as well who's going to go point counterpoint with you in that last segment. Stay tuned. Do not go anywhere. We are going to be right back with more with Bruce McPherson, a certified reverse mortgage professional. Stay tuned.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today, it's Thrive Thursday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. This is Mr. Credit Radio Hour with Ron Greenwald, your host. In studio, we have Bruce McPherson, Security One Lending. Bruce is a certified reverse mortgage professional, and we were chatting about the idea of using a reverse mortgage to purchase a home. So I'll give kind of the overview of that, and then I'm going to give Bruce is going to have some real-life examples of how to do that. And again, for those that know me personally, my rants are always about that people that are taking advantage of our seniors. It's an epidemic out there, and so I encourage you, if you have mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, please check on them and see how they're doing and making sure there aren't strange people coming in and out of their house and that they're not passing along accidentally their social security number, their checking accounts, or any information to anybody.
Or falling victim to it. There's a scam. There's people out there who will pretend that they're going to provide a reverse mortgage, and they'll collect a big upfront fee, which is not how reverse mortgages work. You're not supposed to pay. You're not supposed to pay hardly anything up front except for the appraisal, and then they just disappear after collecting that money.
Really?
I just had a customer or prospective customer call me a week ago because they want to get a reverse mortgage, and they just got ripped off by this person who had said that they would provide them with one.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
and
be on the lookout for scams.
The IRS does not call you. They send you nasty letters. I grant you that one.
Yeah.
But they do not call you. And those are scams. IRS scams are out there. The grandma, grandpa, I'm in jail scam. Wire me money. There is no legitimate foreign lottery. It's not happening. So if you have any help on that, please get a hold of email Mr. Credit, and we will get you information on that. But let's go back, because that's why Bruce is a certified reverse mortgage professional. He's an educator first, makes a living doing reverse mortgages by educating clients and their families as to what is the best thing to do for mom and dad, grandma and grandpa. So a reverse mortgage purchase, again, the idea is grandma and grandpa have lived in a two-story home for many, many years. We all are looking for the downsize into that one-story home, so we're not going up and down the stairs. It's just a lot safer. And they can do that via a purchase. So, Bruce, give us an example of how that might work.
Sure. First, just to clarify for people out there who might be confused by this, although traditionally, a reverse mortgage has been a flexible financial tool for pulling equity out of an existing home that you currently own. The reverse mortgage purchase is when you buy a home and you finance the purchase of that home by getting the reverse mortgage on that home as you're buying it instead of a regular mortgage. So here's an example. I'm going to give you some of the math here. So let's say you're 75 years old. The reason I'm mentioning age is the percentage that we can loan, the loan to value ratio that we can loan based on the government formula is based partly on your age. It's also based a lot on interest rates, and right now rates are really low, and that really means that's good news. That means we can loan the most money possible right now. So let's say you're 75 years old and you're buying a home. You want to buy a home for $500,000. The reverse mortgage will provide $292,000 of that purchase price. So your down payment would be $208,000. So imagine being able to buy a home without ever having to make a mortgage payment, because that's the way these work. So it's as if you bought it with cash, because there's no monthly payment to make ever, guaranteed, as long as you live there. And yet at the same time, you haven't had to pull $500,000 out of your investment portfolio. You've only had to pull $208,000 out.
And that will generally come from if they're selling a home, obviously.
Yeah, if you're down, that's right. In this case, yeah, you're right. We're talking about downsizing. So that $208,000 can come from the proceeds of the home that you sold. So you can keep a lot more of the sale proceeds in your pocket. Put it in your investment savings, in your portfolio. Make it grow for you instead of spending it all to be a cash buyer. So this can be a great option. Now, just to illustrate how much of an effect interest rates have on that formula, let's say you wait a year before you do it, and then during that year, what if interest rates rise just 1%? And so you decide to apply then, and I'm assuming that the interest rate on the reverse mortgage would have gone up in line with regular rates. So let's say you apply at that time when rates are higher. Instead of being able to qualify for $292,000, you would only qualify for $229,000. That's a big difference.
What was it? Give me those numbers again.
Instead of $292,000, you'd only qualify for $229,000.
Wow.
So that's a little bit more than
$63,000.
That's right, $63,000 difference.
By 1 percentage point.
Just if rates just go up 1 percentage point. That's a big difference.
That's a big number.
Interest rates have a huge effect on this formula, and that's something you never hear about if you're reading the general articles in the media about this. They never talk about that. They just say, oh, it depends on how old you are, but your age is only one factor. Interest rates are an even more important
it's somewhat
factor.
based on actuarial tables.
Right.
So that's how, in terms of the age factor, the interest rate factor.
And now once you have your reverse mortgage, if interest rates go up after that, it does not decrease the amount of money that's available to you. So if you're doing a traditional reverse mortgage and you want to have the money just sitting in the reverse mortgage line of credit, it's always going to be there growing for you no matter what happens with rates. But so, here's an example where if you wait and do it when rates are higher, the down payment would be, $270,000 instead of today it would be only $207,000. It's a big, big difference, $63,000 difference.
That's a big number.
And so now's a great time to buy a home, and here's another example of why now's a good time to buy. Low rates.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of these single-story homes. I wish we could have more of them in San Diego. Rancho Bernardo, Poway really is the hub of single-story homes, or in certain areas. But it's a great idea.
And just to clarify for people who aren't familiar with the reverse mortgage at all, when I'm talking about rates, I don't want people to get the incorrect idea that you have to make interest payments. The interest is simply added to the loan balance over time, and it'll come due someday when you're gone. If you sell your home, or if you permanently move out and never come back, or if you pass away.
Yeah, and so again, for those that there's a rule, and I'm not going to describe the rule of 72, but what it takes your loan balance to double. So again, if you borrow $200,000 today, and let's say the average interest rate is 4%. I mean, let's just use that. I mean, I know it's been a lot lower than that now, but even if we use 4%. it's going to take almost 20 years, not quite 20, like 18 years.
Well, full disclosure, I should point out that the interest rate, we can do a rate that's 3.99% fixed rate, but no matter what the rate is, whether you choose a fixed or a variable rate, the government adds 1.25% on top of that rate. That's the government's mortgage insurance premium, because the federal government insures these loans. I mean, this was created by Congress in 1989. Regulated by HUD, and it's insured by the FHA, Federal Housing Administration.
And that's why you got to call Bruce, who's a certified reverse mortgage professional, because he is going to have full disclosure, tell you your options as to how to structure these deals, whether you do it. I mean, if you're not purchasing, you can do an equity line. There's all kinds of ways to do that. So the toll-free number, 866-223-7174, 866-223-7174. You're not like an attorney. You're not going to charge for consultation.
Right. I do free consultations.
We all do free consultations.
I love educating people about the program. If you have a financial advisor, an accountant, a
bring
realtor.
them to the table.
Yeah, I'll meet with you at your home or at your advisor's office. The advisors really enjoy these meetings because they learn a lot. The vast majority of advisors, whether they're attorneys or accountants, financial advisors, the vast majority of them have no idea how this works. They still believe the same old myths that everybody believes.
Mainstream media, we're going to have to...
The mainstream media has not been educating people properly.
We're going to have to get you... I know you're not a Twitter guy, but we're going to have to get you on Twitter to start putting out the real stuff. Hashtag certified reverse mortgage. That's what we're going to do. Hashtag Bruce McPherson certified reverse mortgage professional. Hashtag.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Start hashtagging that.
But in the meantime, just call me on my toll-free number. I'm not going to do a sales pitch. I just educate. I've never had to sell a reverse mortgage. It sells itself if it's the right fit.
The right thing
and
to
I've
do.
provided over 800, probably 900 of these throughout San Diego County by now, and I have very happy clients.
Yeah, so you've got the track record, you got the professional, and you have a great company behind you, Security One Lending. They've been around for a while.
Yeah, and we are now the largest full-service reverse mortgage company. And full service means we don't resell the servicing. We do it all in-house, so there's no runaround. We're, of course, a direct lender. We're, at the top of the heap. And we're, full service also means in person. I'll meet with you and your advisor. I'll meet with you at your home, whatever is best. You're not just dealing with some call center somewhere.
Right. No call centers and no fancy chicken dinner.
I'm not. I attended one of those seminars once that somebody else did, and they didn't provide information. It was just a sales pitch.
Right.
And that's not how I operate.
And if it's do never give money up front, and just really call the right person to get educated properly to see if it's the right thing for you, and bring everybody. Have a little barbecue for when Bruce comes over, so everybody can get an understanding what's going on.
Yeah, don't talk to somebody who is going to charge you thousands of dollars up front. That's not how these work. That means they're a fraudster. If somebody claims that they're with the government and they're providing this, they're not telling the truth. The government does not provide these. The government insures them and regulates them, and they created the program, but you can't get it from the government. So. Beware.
Oh, be careful out there. Do not pick up the phone. You call Bruce. Call Bruce. There, 866-223-7174. Hang around. Do not go away. I think we have somebody on the line as well, and we are going to go counterpoint on who to put on your fantasy football team this weekend, how the Chargers are going to do. We're going to talk maybe a little bit about Dean Spanos. Is it Dean anymore? Whatever. And maybe who that pick is for the Super Bowl in 2015. Don't go anywhere. You will be the smartest NFL prognosticator in town. Hang on.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today, it's Thrive Thursday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. Ron Greenwald, Mr. Credit Radio Hour. And this last segment is going to make you smarter than anyone else in town regarding the picks for this weekend and the start of the NFL. Is Robbie on the phone? We don't know that.
Yes, I am here.
Oh, Robbie, you're there.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the Mr. Credit Radio Hour. And I understand that you are a multiple FX. Is that right, Ryan? Am I saying that right?
A multiple fantasy football league champion.
Really? A multiple fantasy football league champion. So you have some ideas for this weekend, I assume.
Yeah, I do. A couple of ideas on who to start and sit. Heard you guys a little bit earlier there.
Okay, so is this going to? I hope. Okay, give us yours, and then we'll see how they blend in.
Well, yeah. On just to stick with, I guess, local San Diego versus Arizona. I actually really like the Chargers versus the Cardinals here, and any of them actually in the format. I think Rivers and Gates specifically this weekend versus Arizona. They are a little banged up on defense, so I think that's actually going to be a strong play.
So, I mean, are you picking points? Do you have to do points on these fantasies, or how does that work?
Yeah, you get points off of touchdowns, passing, receiving, and things like that. So in regards to a point per reception league, guys like Danny Woodhead or a Pierre Thomas out of New Orleans are high value, or Shane Vereen out of New England, mainly because they get a lot of receptions out of the backfield. So you get a point for every one of their catches along with their yards.
So, now, are you guys getting up, at the 6 a.m., or I can't imagine Ryan getting up at 6 a.m., but getting up at 6 a.m. to guys see the weather channels and kind of decide at the last second of who's playing what? How does that work on Sunday morning?
You do a little tinkering. I try not to. I do try to watch the reports there on the morning shows to see if there's any last-second injuries or anything else to be concerned about. Maybe an alignment go down that may affect your quarterback. But yeah, really just try to go with my gut on a lot of it, and try to assemble my lineup by at least Saturday night. That way, Sunday, if I do, it's a little minor change.
So I mean, obviously, Saturday night, just personal note. I mean, are you kind of hanging around the house and not going out to the bars on Saturday night, or how's that working, Robbie?
That would probably be the best course of action. Yes.
Okay, just checking. So again, Ryan said he's not thrilled with his running backs. Is that right, Ryan? Am I correct on that one?
Not the best situation.
Not the best situation. What about you, Robbie? Who's on your backfield?
I'm pretty happy with who I've gotten in a lot of my leagues. I have 3 different leagues this year. So, but I was lucky enough to get one of the top picks in 2 of those. So I was able to get Adrian Peterson and Jamal Charles, who both are number 1 running backs for their team. There's no split sharing with another back, so they do get majority of the carries, and they do get the best value, I guess, for your pick there early in the draft.
And who you got going wide receiver this weekend?
Wide receivers, I had to make a slight change. I did have Wes Welker in the lineup, who has been suspended for 4 games.
Pick up Emmanuel Sanders.
Yes, I'm lucky enough to have him, along with a couple of the Packers receivers there, and Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb, who, the Packers throw the ball about 75% of the time, it seems like. Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to put up some points.
So you think they're going to do well against Seattle? Is it Richard Sherman? Am I got that right?
That's correct.
You going to do well tonight?
That's going to be a tough play tonight. I think yards are going to become hard to come by for both sides actually tonight. So it might be not as a high-scoring game as you're used to, but those guys generally do catch the majority of the touchdowns for the Packers. So they may be not as strong of a play as normal weeks, but this week, they're definitely in my lineup.
So week 1, if you have anyone better than it or anyone close to decent, I would sit Aaron Rodgers and play someone else just for week 1.
Yeah, actually, I was, going through some stuff. I mean, if you have, even Cam Newton,
I'd sit him too
versus Tampa Bay, but he's a little banged up, but he is the offense. So.
Well, who's your breakout player this year? Ryan?
I had Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck is a good call. I mean, definitely a Pro Bowler last year. I think he's going to do very well. I think my breakout player, he did break out a little bit late towards last season when he did win the job over in Cincinnati, but I think Gio Bernard is going to have a huge year for Cincinnati, along with Andre Ellington down in Arizona, who we will see as Charger fans on week 1.
Okay, who was the last one? I'm sorry.
Andre Ellington.
Okay, and what position?
Running back.
Running back, okay. Well, we're running short on time, so I do want to get some predictions. So, Ryan, we're going to turn to Ryan for a second. Ryan, okay, let's just go Monday night with the Chargers. Who will you got? I mean, obviously, I think Robbie said Chargers.
I'm going to take the Chargers in a close victory. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Yeah. You don't think well, a victory's a victory, or
a win's a win.
Okay.
Just hopefully they don't fall asleep for the first half of the game.
Okay, and Ryan, your prediction. Okay, I want to get you have a very strong opinion on the stadium. So in like a minute, give us your opinion on the football stadium.
Well, just real quick, the Atlanta Falcons were able to privately finance their new $1.2 billion stadium with 70% of that money coming from private funding. So you have 30% coming from public, and part of that private funding they're going to get is $200 million from the NFL. The NFL gave that to the San Francisco Stadium, the Minnesota Stadium. It's something that we could do in San Diego. Is if Spanos wants to play ball and really is not trying to use LA as leverage, which he's doing, they should be able to come to the table with at least 60% coming from private sources, and $200 million of that is going to come from the NFL. It's not too much to ask considering the former politicians of San Diego really screwed up our finances, and if he's committed to the city and its community, that's the sort of thing he should be doing.
Well, what is holding it up? I mean, is it just politics?
It's politics. The city of San Diego has barely any funding because of the corrupt politicians that we've had come through the city in the past. As well, Spanos doesn't even think 50-50 is fair. He wants to have the majority publicly funded, and that's just not the way the world's working anymore, as the Atlanta Stadium shows us. But he has the leverage with LA, so that's why he can try to do this.
You think it's really the LA game it's holding this thing up? The LA
the leverage. It's just leverage. I mean, it's without that, he'd be having to fork over 70 to 80% private.
Okay, Dean.
Let's go to
Mr. Spanos. Okay, the season. That's what we're on. Okay, Ryan, give us your call on where the Chargers fit into this season.
I think the Chargers make the wild card. It's gonna be a tough schedule. It's gonna be a competitive wild card. I think they can go 10-6 and get that one of the last 2 wild card spots. Denver's gonna win the West.
Denver's winning the West, and okay, so that's in the AFC. NFC, real quick.
NFC, my teams. I go Seattle, Green Bay, New Orleans, Philadelphia. And my wild cards, San Francisco and Chicago. New Orleans is going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Robbie, your pick for the Super Bowl.
My pick is we're going to have New Orleans in the Super Bowl.
Against?
Yes. And I'm going to take New Orleans versus New England.
New Orleans versus New England. Okay. I remember that. I'm jotting it down. And Ryan, who your pick were?
I got New Orleans versus Denver.
Versus Denver.
And New Orleans winning.
New Orleans. Okay, fantastic. My picks, Chargers. No idea why. Thank you, Robbie. It's been fantastic. Hope all is well with you, and enjoy, and good luck to you in your fantasy football leagues. Ryan, thank you so much for coming in. It's been always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great NFL season. Enjoy. Be safe out there. Bye.
If you would like to contact Mr. Credit or access any free offers mentioned on the show, just go to mrcredit.org. That's mrcredit.org.